Have you ever wondered how well you truly know the person sleeping beside you? What if I told you that the most painful betrayals don't come with warning signs? They come wrapped in familiar smiles, daily routines, and whispered, "I love yous"? My name is Simone, and I'm about to tell you how a single photograph shattered the life I thought was perfect. But more importantly, I'll tell you how I rebuilt myself from the ashes. This is my story. The autumn rain was drumming against the windows of our townhouse in Georgetown when I found it. My husband, Derek, was at his Saturday basketball game with his college buddies. Or at least, that's what he told me every week for the past 4 months. I was in our home office, the room that smelled of leather and his expensive cologne, looking for the warranty papers for our broken dishwasher. Derek always kept important documents in his desk drawer, organized in those neat labeled folders he was so proud of. My fingers moved through the files. Appliances, insurance, taxes, and then a plain manila envelope tucked in the back unmarked. I should have stopped. Some part of me knew that what lay inside would change everything. But curiosity, or perhaps intuition, made me slide the photos out. The first image showed Derek at a restaurant I didn't recognize. He was laughing, his head thrown back in that carefree way he used to laugh with me when we first started dating. Across from him sat a woman, young, maybe mid-20s, with glossy dark hair and a smile that said she knew exactly how attractive she was. My hands shook as I flipped to the next photo. Derek and the woman walking hand in hand through what looked like a park. Another one, them at a hotel entrance. And then the final picture, the one that made my stomach drop, them kissing in a parking garage, his hand tangled in her hair, her arms wrapped around his neck. I sat there for what felt like hours, but was probably only minutes. The rain continued its steady rhythm. The clock on the wall ticked, and my world silently crumbled. Derek was a financial analyst at a prestigious firm downtown. We'd been married for 5 years, together for 8. We met at a mutual friend's wedding. How ironic, where he'd asked me to dance and told me I had the most beautiful smile he'd ever seen. He proposed on a beach in Malibu at sunset, got down on one knee in the sand, and promised me forever. We bought this house together, painted the walls ourselves, planted a garden in the backyard. We talked about starting a family next year, once he made partner at his firm. All of it lies? Or just temporary truths that expired when someone younger and more exciting came along? I heard his car pull into the driveway, the familiar sound of his keys jingling, the front door opening. "Simone? Babe, I'm home. Sorry I'm late, we went into overtime." His voice was cheerful, unchanged. How could he sound so normal? I slid the photos back into the envelope and placed it exactly where I'd found it. I closed the drawer silently and took a deep breath. When I walked out of the office, Derek was in the kitchen, pulling a beer from the fridge. His basketball jersey was damp with sweat, his hair tousled. He looked at me with those warm brown eyes and smiled. "Hey, beautiful. How was your day?" I forced my lips to curve upward. "It was fine. How was the game?" "Brutal. James has been practicing. He's actually getting good." He took a long drink, then noticed something in my expression. "You okay? You look pale." "Just tired," I said softly. "I think I might be coming down with something." He walked over and pressed his hand to my forehead, the same hand that had been in another woman's hair. I fought the urge to pull away. "You do feel a little warm. Go lie down. I'll order us some Thai food." I nodded and walked toward our bedroom. Behind me, I heard him already on his phone, presumably calling the restaurant. But I knew better now. Every phone call, every late night, every basketball game. All of it was now suspect. As I lay in our bed staring at the ceiling, a strange calm washed over me. The initial shock was fading, replaced by something colder. Something calculating. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to cry and beg for explanations. I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction of seeing me break. No, I was going to do something much more effective. I was going to plan. Over the next 3 days, I became a detective in my own home. Not the hysterical, jealous wife who goes through pockets and checks phones obsessively. No, I was methodical, strategic, invisible. Derek had no idea that the woman who kissed him goodbye each morning, who asked about his day each evening, who smiled across the dinner table, was documenting every lie he told. I started with his laptop. Derek thought he was careful, but he'd made one critical mistake. He'd saved his passwords in the browser. Late one night, while he was in the shower, I accessed his email. There were hundreds of messages. Her name was Jade Winters. She worked as a marketing coordinator at a startup in the city. 26 years old according to her email signature. The messages went back 7 months. 7 months. While I was planning our anniversary trip. While I was having dinner with his parents. While I was lying next to him every single night. The emails were disgusting in their sweetness. Pet names. Inside jokes. Plans for secret meetups. He called her my escape and my breath of fresh air. He told her things about our marriage, complaints I'd never heard from his own mouth. That I was too focused on my career. That we'd grown apart. That he felt trapped. One email made my blood run cold. Jade had written, "When are you going to tell her? I'm tired of being your secret." Derek's response, "Soon, baby. I promise. I just need to figure out the right time. She's going to take everything in the divorce. I need to protect our assets first." So that was his plan. String me along while he quietly moved money around, then blindside me with divorce papers when he'd secured everything. I took screenshots of everything. Hundreds of them. I created a hidden folder on my own laptop and backed everything up to a cloud drive he didn't know about. Next, I checked our bank accounts. We had a joint checking account for household expenses and separate savings accounts. Or so I thought. I logged into Derek's account using the password hint I'd always known, his mother's maiden name. What I found made me physically sick. Cash withdrawals. Large ones. 500 here. 800 there. Always from ATMs on the other side of town. Credit card charges at expensive hotels. Jewelry purchases from stores I'd never received gifts from. Romantic restaurants I'd never been to. In total, he'd spent nearly $28,000 over 7 months. Money that could have gone toward the down payment on a bigger house. Money we'd been saving for our future children. Money he'd assured me was being invested wisely. I printed every bank statement, every credit card bill, every receipt I could find. The paper trail was damning. But I needed more. I needed something undeniable. That Saturday, when Derek announced he had another basketball game, I made my move. "Actually, honey, I was thinking of coming to watch today," I said casually over breakfast. "I haven't seen you play in forever." The color drained from his face for just a second before he recovered. "Oh, it's at the old rec center across town. The one with the terrible parking. You'd hate it. Plus, I thought you had that brunch with your sister." I'd mentioned no such brunch. He was inventing my schedule now. She canceled. I lied smoothly. "So I'm free. It'll be fun, like old times." Derek's jaw tightened. "Babe, honestly, we're probably just going to grab beers after. It'll be a whole guy thing. You'd be bored out of your mind." "I don't mind. Simone." His voice had an edge now. I said no. "I need my space, okay? Is that too much to ask?" There it was. The irritation. The mask slipping. I held up my hands. Okay. I was just trying to be supportive. "Go have fun." His expression softened immediately. He came around the table and kissed my forehead. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to snap. I'm just stressed about this presentation on Monday. I'll make it up to you, I promise. How about we do something special tomorrow? Just the two of us." "That sounds perfect," I said, smiling up at him. He left 20 minutes later, gym bag in hand, whistling as he walked to his car. I waited exactly 5 minutes. Then I grabbed my keys, sunglasses, and the baseball cap I used for jogging. I got into my car and drove in the direction of downtown. I'd installed a tracking app on his phone 2 days earlier. It was remarkably easy. I'd simply picked up his phone while he was cooking dinner, entered his passcode, our wedding date, the irony never ended, and downloaded the app disguised as a system update. The little blue dot on my phone showed Derek's location. He wasn't heading to any rec center. He was driving toward the waterfront district, the trendy area full of expensive lofts and boutique hotels. I followed at a safe distance, my heart pounding but my hands steady on the wheel. He pulled into the parking garage of the Azure, a luxury hotel I recognized from the credit card statements. I parked on the street and waited. 15 minutes later, I saw her. Jade Winters in person looked even younger than her photos. She was wearing designer jeans and a leather jacket, her dark hair falling in perfect waves. She walked with the confidence of someone who'd never had to fight for anything. Derek met her at the entrance. He looked around nervously before pulling her into a kiss. Then they walked inside together, his arm around her waist. I sat in my car, camera ready. I'd borrowed a professional one from my photographer friend, claiming I wanted to get into wildlife photography. The zoom lens captured everything perfectly. Derek and Jade entering the hotel. The timestamp showing 11:47 a.m., right when his basketball game was supposedly starting. I waited 3 hours. At 2:30 p.m., they emerged. Her hair was Messier. His shirt was wrinkled. They were laughing about something, his hand holding hers. More photos. Click, click, click. They said goodbye with another long kiss. She headed toward the metro station. He walked back to his car. I had everything I needed now, but I wasn't done yet. That evening, Derek came home with takeout from my favorite Italian restaurant. "For my beautiful wife," he said, presenting it with a flourish. "You're so sweet," I said, accepting his kiss on the cheek. "How was the game?" "Great. We won by 12 points. I'm exhausted, though." "I bet," I said softly. We ate dinner on the couch, watching a movie. Derek kept checking his phone, smiling at messages he thought I couldn't see. Each time, my resolve grew stronger. The old Simone would have confronted him right there, would have thrown the food in his face and demanded answers, would have screamed and cried and made a scene. But I wasn't the old Simone anymore. That woman died the moment I found those photographs. The new Simone was patient, strategic. She understood that revenge wasn't about emotion, it was about precision. Over the next 2 weeks, I prepared for war. I met with 3 divorce attorneys, finally settling on Patricia Chun, a shark of a lawyer known for destroying cheating husbands in court. She looked at my evidence with approval. "This is excellent work," Patricia said, flipping through the documents I'd organized into a neat binder. "With this, we can go for fault-based divorce. He won't see a penny of alimony, and we can argue for a larger share of assets due to his financial infidelity." "What about his pension and 401k? I asked. "Both are marital property. You're entitled to half." With this evidence of him deliberately wasting marital funds on an affair, the judge will likely be very sympathetic to you. I also opened my own bank account at a different bank. I transferred half of our joint savings into it, exactly my legal share. I gathered all my important documents: birth certificate, passport, social security card, my grandmother's jewelry, the title to my car. I packed 2 suitcases and stored them in my office at work. I found a furnished apartment available for immediate move-in. I signed the lease. Everything was ready. I just needed the perfect moment. It came on a Thursday night. Derek announced he had to fly to Chicago for a last-minute client meeting the next morning, staying through the weekend. "I'm really sorry, babe," he said, looking genuinely apologetic. "I know we had plans. I'll make it up to you when I get back." "It's okay," I said. "Work comes first." "I understand." I watched him pack his suitcase. Business suits, dress shoes, and I noticed his good cologne, the expensive one, for a client meeting. He kissed me goodbye at 5 a.m. Friday morning. "I love you," he said. "I love you too," I replied. The lie tasted like ashes. As soon as his car left the driveway, I checked the tracking app. He drove to the airport, just as he said. But then I checked his flight confirmations in his email. There was no flight to Chicago. Instead, there were 2 tickets to Napa Valley. Derek and Jade. A romantic weekend at a vineyard resort. 4 nights. A couple's massage package. Wine tasting tours. He booked it using our credit card. Our money. For his mistress. I smiled. It was time. I had 4 days while Derek was living his fantasy in Napa Valley with his mistress. 4 days to execute my plan perfectly. First, I called my best friend, Monica. She'd been my roommate in college, stood beside me at my wedding, and was now a successful real estate agent with connections all over the city. If anyone could help me, it was her. "I need your help," I said when she answered. "And I need you not to ask questions until I explain everything." 2 hours later, Monica was sitting in my living room, her mouth hanging open as I showed her everything. The photos, the emails, the bank statements, the hotel receipts. "That absolute piece of trash," she finally said, her voice shaking with rage. "Simone, I am so sorry. How are you so calm right now?" "Because anger without strategy is just noise," I said. "And I don't want to make noise. I want to make an impact." Monica's eyes narrowed. "What do you need from me?" I told her my plan. With each detail, her smile grew wider. "You're diabolical," she said with admiration. "I love it. Count me in." Step 1 was simple. I changed the locks on the house. Since the property was in both our names, I had every legal right to do so. The locksmith came that afternoon, and by evening, Derek's keys were useless. Step 2 required more finesse. I went to Derek's office on Friday afternoon. His assistant, Bethany, had always liked me. We'd chatted at company Christmas parties, and I'd helped her daughter with college application essays last year. Simone, what a nice surprise, Bethany said when I appeared at her desk with coffee and pastries from her favorite bakery. I was in the neighborhood and thought of you, I said warmly. Is Derek around? I wanted to surprise him for lunch. Oh, honey, he's in Chicago for that big client meeting. Didn't he tell you? Chicago? Really? I made my face fall. He told me he'd be here all week. I specifically asked him to help me with something this weekend. Bethany frowned. That's strange. Let me check his calendar. She clicked through her computer. There's nothing on his schedule about Chicago. In fact, he marked himself out of office for personal time. Personal time, I repeated slowly. Bethany's expression shifted as she realized something was wrong. Simone, is everything okay? I made a decision in that moment. Bethany was divorced herself. She'd once told me about her ex-husband's affair with his secretary. She would understand. Can we talk privately? I asked quietly. In an empty conference room, I told her enough. Not everything. Just that I'd discovered Derek was having an affair and had lied about this business trip. I showed her one photo of him with Jade at the hotel. Bethany's face hardened. What do you need? Does Derek keep any personal items in his office? Documents, maybe? Things he might not want me to find. She thought for a moment. He has a locked drawer in his desk. I've never seen inside it. And there's a safe behind the picture on his wall. The one of the sailboat. I've seen him open it a few times. Do you know the combination? Bethany shook her head. But I know where he keeps the backup key for the drawer. He made me promise never to tell anyone. She paused. But I figure all promises are void when someone's being a lying cheat. 10 minutes later, I had access to Derek's private drawer. Inside was a treasure trove. A second phone, a cheap burner he used to text Jade. A folder containing apartment listings in Baltimore, where Jade had family. He was planning to move there with her. There were printed emails about joint bank accounts he'd been researching. A jeweler's receipt for a diamond bracelet worth $8,000, purchased just last week. And a handwritten note that made my blood run cold. Tell Simone about divorce, November. Move money to offshore account, October. Jade's ring, December. He'd planned the whole thing. The timeline of my destruction, written in his neat handwriting. I photographed everything with trembling hands. Bethany watched in silence, her face grim. There's one more thing, Bethany said quietly. His computer. He thinks he logs out, but he doesn't always. And I have admin access to the company server. Bethany, I can't ask you to risk your job. You're not asking. I'm offering. What he's doing is disgusting. My ex-husband destroyed me financially because I didn't have evidence. You deserve better. She gave me access to Derek's work files. There, I found more damning evidence. Personal emails sent from his work account. Calendar entries showing meetings that matched up with hotel receipts. And most damaging, he'd been using company funds for some of his escapades, disguising personal expenses as client entertainment. This could get him fired, Bethany said, pointing to the expense reports. Our company has a strict ethics policy. Using corporate cards for personal affairs? That's grounds for immediate termination and potential legal action. An idea formed in my mind. A beautiful, perfect idea. Bethany, who would I report this to? She smiled slowly. His boss, Martin Green, who happens to be a deacon at his church and very traditional about family values. He fired someone last year just for lying on their timesheet. Interesting, I murmured. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not from pain, but from anticipation. Every piece was falling into place. Saturday morning, I received a text from Derek. Miss you, babe. Chicago is boring without you. Can't wait to come home and hold you. I stared at the message. At that exact moment, according to the tracking app, he was at a vineyard in Napa Valley, probably feeding Jade grapes and promising her the future he'd once promised me. I typed back, miss you too. Be safe. Love you. The lies flowed so easily now. Monica came over that afternoon. We sat at my kitchen table, drinking wine and finalizing the details. You're sure you want to do this? She asked. Once you pull this trigger, there's no going back. I've never been more sure of anything, I said. Sunday evening, Derek texted that his flight was delayed. He'd be home Monday afternoon instead. More lies. According to his actual itinerary, he and Jade were taking a couple's cooking class that evening. No problem, I texted back. I'll have dinner waiting. Monday morning, I called in sick to work. Then I got to work on the most important task. I composed an email. The recipient was Martin Green, Derek's boss. I attached every piece of evidence I'd gathered about Derek's misuse of company funds. The personal charges disguised as business expenses. The pattern of falsified expense reports. The timeline matching his affair. The subject line read, Ethics Violation Report, Derek Thompson, Financial Analysis Department. I wrote it professionally, dispassionately. I didn't mention the affair directly, just the financial impropriety. I signed it anonymously, using a burner email account Monica had helped me set up. This will ruin his career, Monica said, reading over my shoulder. He ruined our marriage, I replied. Fair trade. I hovered my cursor over the send button. One click would destroy everything Derek had worked for. His reputation. His career. His future. He'd done the same to me without a second thought. I clicked send. Then I composed a second email. This one went to the HR department, with copies to the ethics board and the company's legal team. More evidence. More documentation. All anonymous, all professional, all devastating. By the time Derek walked back into this house, his entire world would be crumbling. He just didn't know it yet. Monday afternoon arrived. I'd spent the morning making the house perfect. I'd cooked his favorite meal, pot roast with roasted vegetables. I'd set the table with our good china. I'd even put on the dress he liked, the blue one he'd complimented 100 times. I wanted everything to look normal. Perfect, even. At 4:30 p.m., I got a text from Derek. Pulling into the driveway now. Something smells amazing. My heart was pounding, but my hands were steady. I checked my appearance in the hall mirror. Hair perfect. Makeup flawless. Smile practiced and ready. I heard his key in the lock. The confusion when it didn't work. He tried again. Then a knock. Simone? Babe? My key isn't working. I walked to the door calmly and opened it. Derek stood there, confused, his suitcase beside him. Hey, honey. Welcome home, I said warmly. Come in. What's going on with the lock? He asked, stepping inside. Oh, it was acting up, so I had it replaced. Sorry, I forgot to text you. I'll get you a new key made tomorrow. He seemed to accept this. He kissed my cheek, and I let him, even though my skin crawled at his touch. Something smells incredible, he said. I'm starving. That airplane food was terrible. Airplane food from Chicago? I asked sweetly. Yeah, you know how it is. I do, I said. Go wash up. Dinner's almost ready. While he was in the bathroom, his phone buzzed on the counter. A text from Jade. Already missing you. Last night was perfect. I love you. I smiled and let the phone go dark. Derek came back, relaxed and happy. He had no idea that his work email was probably exploding with messages from HR right now. That his boss had spent the day reviewing evidence of his fraud. That his entire career was hanging by a thread. We sat down to eat. I served him a generous portion and poured him wine. So how was Chicago? I asked conversationally. Exhausting. Meetings all day, boring dinners at night. I'm so glad to be home. I bet. Did you close the deal? Yeah. It went well. Lie after lie delivered so smoothly. That's wonderful, I said. I'm proud of you. He smiled at me, the same charming smile that had made me fall in love 8 years ago. Now it just looked like a mask. How was your weekend? He asked. Oh, quiet. I just relaxed around the house. Did some thinking. About what? The future, I said softly. Our future. Something in my tone made him look at me more carefully. Everything okay? Actually, Derek, I need to talk to you about something. He set down his fork. What's wrong? I reached beside my chair and pulled out the manila envelope. The one from his desk. I placed it on the table between us. Derek's face went white. What is that? Why don't you tell me? I said calmly. His hand shook as he reached for it. He opened it, saw the photos, and his whole body went rigid. Simone, I can explain. Can you? I interrupted. Please. Explain how you spent 7 months lying to me. Explain how you spent $28,000 of our money on another woman. Explain how you told her you were going to divorce me and move to Baltimore with her. Please, Derek. Explain. The color drained from his face completely. How did you? When did you? Does it matter? I asked. You're caught. The question is, what are you going to do now? He started to cry. Actually cry, tears running down his face. It was a mistake. A terrible mistake. I love you, Simone. I've always loved you. She doesn't mean anything. Stop, I said, my voice like ice. Don't insult my intelligence. You planned this. I found your note. November, tell Simone about divorce. October, move money offshore. You were going to blindside me, take everything, and leave me with nothing. No, that was just… I was confused. I wasn't thinking straight. You were thinking perfectly straight. You were thinking about protecting yourself and screwing me over. Derek reached across the table for my hand. I pulled away. Please, Simone. Please. We can fix this. I'll end it with her right now. I'll do anything. Counseling, therapy, whatever you want. Just please don't leave me. I looked at him. Really looked at him. This man I'd planned a life with. This man I'd trusted completely. It's too late, I said quietly. It's not. It's not too late. I love you. You love me? I laughed, a bitter sound. You love me so much you were planning to rob me blind and abandon me for a 26-year-old girl? His phone buzzed on the counter. Once. Twice. Multiple times. Aren't you going to check that? I asked. It might be important. With shaking hands, Derek picked up his phone. I watched his face as he read the messages. Email notifications from HR. From his boss. From the ethics department. Oh God, he whispered. Oh God, no. Problem? I asked innocently. They're calling me in for a disciplinary hearing. They're talking about termination. About legal action. He looked at me, horror dawning in his eyes. You did this. You reported me. I reported the truth, I said. You used company money for personal expenses. You falsified reports. You committed fraud. I just made sure the right people knew about it. You're destroying my career. No, Derek. You destroyed your career when you decided to steal from your company. I just exposed it. He was breathing hard, panic setting in. Simone, please. If I lose this job, I lose everything. My reputation, my license, my future. You should have thought about that before you betrayed me, I said calmly. I stood up and pulled out another envelope. This one I'd been saving for this exact moment. These are divorce papers. I'm filing on grounds of adultery and financial infidelity. My lawyer says I'm entitled to a significant portion of your assets, including your 401k and pension. Any money you tried to hide, we'll find it. The courts don't look kindly on spouses who waste marital funds on affairs. Derek's face was ashen. You planned this. All of this. Yes, I did. While you were in Napa Valley with Jade, not Chicago, by the way, I was making sure you'd face consequences for what you've done. How did you? I know everything, Derek. I've known for weeks. Every hotel. Every restaurant. Every lie. I tracked your phone. I read your emails. I documented everything. He sank back into his chair, defeated. What do you want from me? I want you to sign these papers. I want you to agree to a fair division of assets. And I want you out of this house by the end of the week. This is my house too. Actually, check the deed. My father helped us with the down payment, remember? It's in my name only. You just lived here. Another lie he'd believed. Another detail he'd never checked. Derek looked at me with something like fear. Who are you? You're not the woman I married. You're right, I said. The woman you married would have forgiven you. Would have tried to fix things. Would have let you walk all over her. But she's gone. You killed her when you kissed Jade in that parking garage. What's left is someone who refuses to be a victim. He sat there in silence, broken. I'm going to stay with Monica tonight, I said. When I come back tomorrow, I expect you to be gone. Pack your essentials. We'll arrange a time for you to get the rest later. I picked up my purse and walked toward the door. Simone, he called out. His voice was small, desperate. I really did love you. I do love you. I turned back to look at him one last time. No, Derek. You loved what I did for you. You loved having a wife who cooked and cleaned and supported your career and never questioned where you were. You loved the idea of me, but you never loved me enough to stay faithful. And that's the difference. I walked out, closing the door behind me. As I drove to Monica's apartment, my phone rang. Derek's number. I declined the call. He called again. And again. Finally, I answered. What? Please, he sobbed. Please don't do this. I'm begging you. Goodbye, Derek, I said. And I hung up. I blocked his number. Blocked Jade's number too, in case she tried to contact me. At Monica's place, she had ice cream and wine waiting. How do you feel? She asked. I thought about it. Really thought about it. Free, I said finally. I feel free. The next morning, I woke up in Monica's guest room feeling something I hadn't felt in weeks, relief. The weight that had been crushing my chest was finally lifting. My phone had 47 missed calls from Derek and dozens of text messages. I deleted them all without reading them. There was nothing he could say that would change anything. Monica made us breakfast, and we sat on her balcony overlooking the city. Derek's boss called me this morning, she said casually. Apparently word travels fast in real estate circles. Martin Green is looking to sell his investment property, and he mentioned that one of his senior analysts just got suspended pending an investigation. Suspended, I repeated. So it's official. Very official. The company is taking it seriously. Using corporate funds for personal affairs is a fireable offense, especially when it involves hiding expenses and falsifying reports. They're talking about pressing charges. I sipped my coffee. I should have felt guilty. I should have felt something. But all I felt was a calm sense of justice. There's more, Monica continued. I heard through a mutual friend that Jade got a very interesting phone call yesterday. From who? Monica's smile was wicked. From Derek's wife. Well, ex-wife soon. Apparently you sent her a very detailed email with photos, bank statements, and a timeline of their entire affair. I had done exactly that. Sunday night, while Derek was still in Napa, I'd composed a careful email to Jade. Not angry or emotional, just factual. Here's what he told you. Here's what he told me. Here are the dates he was with both of us. Here's proof he was planning to string you along just like he did me. I'd included the note about his timeline. The one where he planned to tell me about the divorce in November, but had already been shopping for Jade's engagement ring in December. The one where he'd researched how to hide assets from both of us. How did she react? I asked. According to my source, she completely lost it. Started calling Derek screaming about how he'd lied to her too. Apparently he'd told her he was already separated from you and just waiting for the divorce to finalize. She had no idea he was still living with you, still sleeping in your bed, still playing the devoted husband. I felt a grim satisfaction. Jade wasn't innocent. She'd knowingly pursued a married man, but she'd also been manipulated. Derek had lied to everyone. She broke up with him via text, Monica added. Blocked him on everything. He's lost both of you in 24 hours. Good, I thought. Let him feel what it's like to have everything ripped away. Over the next few days, the consequences kept cascading. Derek's company completed their investigation and terminated him for cause. No severance package. No letter of recommendation. His professional reputation was destroyed. In the tight-knit world of finance, word spread quickly. He'd become toxic, unhireable. His parents called me, begging me to reconsider the divorce. His mother cried on the phone, telling me that boys will be boys, that all men make mistakes, that I should forgive him for the sake of our marriage vows. I listened politely and then said, Your son didn't make a mistake. He made a choice. Every day for 7 months, he chose to lie to me. He chose to steal from our future. He chose another woman over our marriage. Those weren't mistakes, they were deliberate actions. And I choose not to forgive them. She hung up on me. I didn't care. Patricia Chun, my lawyer, was thrilled with the evidence I'd provided. This is one of the strongest cases I've seen, she said during our meeting. With proof of adultery and financial misconduct, we're in an excellent position. He won't get a penny of spousal support, and we can argue for a larger share of marital assets due to his wasteful dissipation of funds. What about the money he already spent? I asked. We'll calculate the total, $28,000 you said, and demand reimbursement. The court will likely order him to repay half of it to you, since it was marital funds used for an affair. And the house? Since it's in your name and your father contributed to the down payment, it's yours. He has no claim to it. Everything was falling into place. But there was one more person who needed to face consequences. Jade Winters worked at a small marketing startup. I'd done my research. Her company had a strict social media policy and prided itself on its family-friendly image. They'd recently launched a campaign about integrity and trust. I created another anonymous email. This time, I sent it to Jade's HR department. The email didn't mention the affair directly. Instead, it included screenshots of Jade's social media posts, ones she'd made public. Photos of her wearing expensive jewelry with captions about being spoiled. Check-ins at luxury hotels. Bragging about expensive dinners. I cross-referenced these posts with Derek's credit card statements, showing that every gift she'd posted about was purchased with stolen company funds. Technically, Jade had benefited from Derek's fraud. She'd accepted gifts she knew came from a married man who was misusing his corporate card. The email concluded with a simple question. Is this the kind of behavior that aligns with your company's values? I never found out exactly what happened, but 2 weeks later, Jade's LinkedIn profile showed she was seeking new opportunities. Her Instagram went private, then disappeared entirely. Monica and I celebrated that night with champagne. You've destroyed both of them, she said, raising her glass. No, I corrected. They destroyed themselves. I just made sure they faced consequences. The divorce proceedings moved quickly. Derek, now unemployed and facing potential legal charges, couldn't afford to fight me. He signed everything my lawyer put in front of him. We split our joint accounts, 50-50 as was fair. The house remained mine. I kept my car. He kept his, though he'd probably have to sell it to pay for a lawyer if the company pressed charges. Most satisfying of all, the judge ordered Derek to reimburse me $14,000, half of what he'd spent on Jade, plus pay my legal fees. Do you understand these terms? The judge asked Derek at our final hearing. Yes, Your Honor, he said quietly. He looked terrible. Gaunt, unshaven, defeated. I felt nothing looking at him. Not anger. Not satisfaction. Not even pity. Just nothing. He was a stranger to me now. The marriage is hereby dissolved, the judge declared. Just like that, 8 years together ended with a gavel strike. Outside the courthouse, Derek tried to approach me. Simone, wait. Patricia stepped between us. My client has nothing to say to you, Mr. Thompson. All further communication should go through me. I just want to apologize. Your apology is noted and rejected, I said coldly. Goodbye, Derek. I walked away and didn't look back. 6 months later, my life looked completely different. I'd thrown myself into work and received a promotion to senior project manager. My boss said my attention to detail and strategic thinking were exactly what the company needed. If only he knew where I'd honed those skills. I redecorated the house, erasing every trace of Derek. New furniture, new paint colors, new art on the walls. It became mine in every sense of the word, a sanctuary, not a crime scene. I reconnected with friends I'd neglected during my marriage. I joined a book club. I started taking pottery classes on weekends. I traveled to Portugal with Monica, just the two of us, drinking wine and laughing under the Mediterranean sun. I dated casually, nothing serious. I wasn't ready for that yet. Maybe I wouldn't be for a long time. But I was okay with that. I was learning to be happy on my own. One evening, I ran into Bethany, Derek's old assistant, at a coffee shop. Simone, she said warmly, hugging me. How are you? I'm good, I said. And I meant it. Really good. How are things at the firm? Better, she said. They hired a new analyst. Woman this time. Very professional. No drama. Good, I said. She hesitated, then asked, Have you heard anything about Derek? No. I blocked him on everything. Why? He's working at a car dealership now. Sales. I heard he's struggling to make rent on a studio apartment across town. His parents had to loan him money. She clearly expected some reaction from me. Satisfaction, maybe, or even concern. I felt neither. I hope he figures his life out, I said simply. And I meant that too. Not for his sake, but because holding on to anger would only poison me. What about Jade? I asked, surprising myself with my own curiosity. Last I heard, she moved back home to North Carolina. Couldn't find work here after everything came out. Her reputation was toast. I nodded slowly. That's unfortunate. And it was. Not because I felt sorry for her, she'd made her choices, but because it was all so unnecessary. All that destruction, all that pain, because two people couldn't resist temptation. Bethany studied my face. You're different, she said finally. Stronger. I had to be, I said. We talked for a few more minutes, exchanged numbers, promised to get coffee again. As I walked home, I thought about the woman I'd been a year ago. That Simone had been trusting to a fault. She'd believed in forever. She'd thought love meant never questioning your partner. That Simone was gone. The new Simone knew that trust must be earned. That love without respect is worthless. That sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is walk away. I didn't regret what I'd done. Not the investigation, not the emails, not the systematic dismantling of Derek's life. He'd earned every consequence. But I also didn't define myself by revenge. That had been necessary, a cleansing fire that burned away the weakness and naivety. Now it was time to build something new from the ashes. Last week, I did something I'd been thinking about for months. I went to a tattoo parlor and got a small phoenix inked on my inner wrist. A reminder that destruction can lead to rebirth. The tattoo artist, a woman with kind eyes and silver hair, asked what it meant. "It means I survived," I said. "And I'm stronger for it." She smiled. The best tattoos are the ones that tell a story. Tonight, I'm sitting on my back porch, the one Derek and I used to share, but which is now mine alone. I'm drinking tea and watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and pink. My phone buzzes. A text from a number I don't recognize. "Simone, it's Derek. I got a new phone. I know you blocked me, but I needed to reach out. I'm in therapy now, dealing with my issues. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. I destroyed the best thing in my life. I hope you're happy. You deserve to be. I'll never forgive myself for what I did to you." I read the message twice. A year ago, these words would have meant everything. I'd have cried. Maybe even considered giving him another chance. Now, they're just words. Too little, too late. I don't respond. Instead, I block this number too and delete the message. His apology isn't my burden to carry. His guilt isn't mine to absolve. He'll have to live with what he did. That's not my problem anymore. I set my phone down and return to watching the sunset. The sky is beautiful tonight, full of possibilities. Tomorrow, I'm having coffee with a guy I met at the pottery class. His name is James. He's a teacher, a widower, someone who understands loss and rebuilding. We've talked for weeks, slowly, carefully. He knows I'm divorced. I've been honest about needing to take things slow. "I'm not in a hurry," he'd said with a gentle smile. "Good things are worth waiting for. Maybe something will come of it. Maybe it won't. Either way, I'll be fine. Because I learned the most important lesson. I don't need someone else to complete me. I'm already whole. My name is Simone. I'm 34 years old. I'm divorced, independent, and genuinely happy. To anyone listening who's going through something similar, I want you to hear this. You are not weak for loving someone who didn't deserve it. You are not foolish for trusting. You are not petty for demanding consequences. You are strong for surviving. You are brave for walking away. You are worthy of a love that doesn't require detective work to verify. Betrayal will try to break you. Don't let it. Let it forge you into something stronger, something unbreakable, something magnificent. The phoenix rises from ashes. So can you? Did this story resonate with you? Have you faced betrayal and come out stronger on the other side? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story helped you in any way, consider subscribing to this channel. There are more stories of survival, strength, and transformation waiting for you. Remember, the best revenge isn't destruction. It's becoming so genuinely happy that you forget why you wanted revenge in the first place. Thank you for listening to my story. Until next time, take care of yourself. You're worth it.